Hey there, YouTube land. Crystal Walker again. Gonna do another review. To begin my horror-thon, just a few movie reviews, 6 to 8 is what I said, and I'm gonna start out with my first one. Got a new haircut. My first review, and that is the 1958 film, The Horror of Dracula, starring Christopher Lee. I love this movie. I don't care what anyone else says. I think it's excellent. It's one of those movies that I watch every October. It's a tradition. Yeah. So, it was made by Hammer Studios, which is, of course, I'm going to go into later on in the review. But the plot of this film is, I can't tell you the plot in a paragraph. I'm going to have to just do a really long plot, so let's get started. So, it's about this. The film begins with this man named Jonathan Harker, who is the new librarian at Castle Dracula. So he goes to the castle. He goes in. It's a very beautiful castle. There's a meal prepared for him, and so he's the new librarian. Before he eats dinner, he meets this woman who's like named. I forgot her name, but she's like, "Oh, you gotta help me. You gotta help me get out of here. He's keeping me against my will." So he's like, "Who? Count Dracula? I don't believe you." So she runs away. Count Dracula comes down the stairs in a very excellent scene where Christopher Lee just is great in this film. R.I.P. by the way, rest in peace. But he's all like really polite, very definitely up there in the high class. Very polite though. Very nice. He shows him up to his room, and he talks to him about his job and stuff. So Jonathan Harker pulls out his diary and writes about day one, this shit happened, and then so one night he goes downstairs to find the woman again, and she again tells him, "Get me out! You gotta get me out of here." But this time she's a bit stranger looking. She's acting weird. So it turns out she opens up her mouth. She tries to bite Jonathan Harker on the neck, but Count Dracula springs out in an excellent shot. Eyes are blood red, blood on the lips, blood on the teeth. He's like this. It's an excellent shot. He leaps out, takes the woman, throws her across the room, and then it turns out that Jonathan Harker gets bitten, and then he passes out, and he wakes up in his bedroom, and it turns out that he writes in his diary, "I'm a vampire," pretty much in short summary, and so what happens is he doesn't get bitten. He goes down to kill Count Dracula and the woman, and then he ends up getting bitten by Count Dracula, but we don't actually see it. But so we then cut to Van Helsing, Dr. Van Helsing, played wonderfully by Peter Cushing, and he comes in to Klausenberg into this little inn restaurant thing, and he's looking for Jonathan because Jonathan was one of his colleagues and one of his best friends. So he discovers Jonathan's body. He stakes Jonathan through the heart. Pow! So he goes to this family called the Homewoods, and Jonathan Harker was gonna marry the Homewoods. So there's a wife named Mina, a husband named Arthur, and Mina's sister named Lucy. Jonathan was gonna marry Lucy. However, he's dead. So Arthur is all pissed at Van Helsing that, "Why aren't you telling us how he died? All this stuff. Why are you keeping this from us? I'm very suspicious." So one night, Mina wakes up in the middle of the night and Count Dracula's at her window, and another excellent shot. He comes in, bites her. Mina goes to Van Helsing and he's like, "Look, something's acting up with Lucy. You gotta figure out what's going on. The doctor said it could be a bee sting or a sting of some sort." Dr. Van Helsing knows it's a vampire bite. He's like, "Oh yeah, this woman's turned." But he doesn't tell Arthur. Then Arthur's like, "Oh, all you've brought in us is grief and death." and Van Helsing is like, I I didn't tell you, I didn't want to tell you the horror of what happened to Jonathan, but how his death is so closely linked to Lucy, he has to tell him. So he tells him about vampires and everything there is to know, everything you need to know how to stop them, the myth, all the stuff that happened, how to kill them. So he and Van Helsing, one night, Lucy, who's in vampire form now, tries to bring this little girl to her. Van Helsing stops her with a cross, and then he explains to Arthur, because she runs back into her coffin, the only way to get rid of, to fulfill peace in Lucy's body is by killing her with a stake. It'll bring her to peace, supposedly. So he stakes her, and pretty much he and Arthur go after Count Dracula. And that is a very long rendition of the plot. However, I told you that simply because, and there is spoilers in this, so if you haven't never seen the film, I almost spoiled the whole thing for you. But, it's a great film. I love it. Of course, made by Hammer Studios, which was a company that began in the late 50s by doing three horror remakes. Three. The Curse of Frankenstein, which I will review probably next year. That's another really great one. The Mummy. And The Mummy. Curse of Frankenstein came out in 1957. Mummy came out in 1959. However, each one of those remakes had a whole series. Not a joke. An entire series. Like 8 films per series. It's crazy what they did. I guess I'll go and talk about the sequels for this one. There was Dracula, Prince of Darkness, which is... Oh, I forgot one. Not Dracula, Prince of Darkness. A lot of people tend to forget the one I'm about to mention. Brides of Dracula, which is not a... It's a sort of sequel. Christopher Lee is not in the film. However, Peter Cushing is. And Peter Cushing gives a great performance in that one. The DVD's out of print, but that's a really good one. If you can find it, check it out. The real sequel to Horror Dracula is Dracula, Prince of Darkness. It came out in 1966. I might review that next year. It all depends on how it ends. Or the year after. Of course, you have, after Dracula, Prince of Darkness, Dracula has risen from the grave. After that, you have Taste of Blood of Dracula. After that, you have Dracula AD 1972. And after that, you have The Satanic Rites of Dracula. Now, this is a good sequel. These two and The Satanic Rites are not very good. Dracula, Prince of Darkness is okay. It has its good moments. But these two and Satanic Rites are not good at all. But this one, Risen from the Grave, are really good ones. This one's, of course, the best. It was filmed in Technicolor, which to me adds some coolness to the film. Like I said, Christopher Lee does a fantastic job. So does Peter Cushing. Christopher Lee gives, rest in peace, one of the best performance in my opinion of his entire career. That's right, even better than The Man with the Golden Gun, James Bond film. But he just gives a great performance as Dracula. Very ominous as well. But see, the thing compared to the other sequels, he doesn't talk like any of the other sequels. He talks in this movie, or at least for part of the film, which is why I think it's kind of cool. I believe Lee was in his 30s when he did this. I believe Peter Cushing gives another fantastic performance. I mean, really, really good as Van Helsing. Easily the best of his career. Easily. He just gives such a great performance as a hero. And he's such a great hero. He's really, really, really different when you compare his character to Victor Frankenstein. Because he's an utter bastard in the Frankenstein films. He's a complete and utter prick. But he's such a great hero in this film. He totally makes the movie what it is. As well as Christopher Lee. Michael, and I almost forgot to mention Michael Gough. That's right, Michael Gough, the man who played Alfred in the Tim Burton Batman film, as well as the other Batman movies that came out from Warner Brothers. Not the Christopher Nolan trilogy, the other ones. I believe it's the Tim Burton series. I'm not sure if he directed all of them or not, but he played Alfred But he does a good job as excuse me. He does a good job as well. As Arthur Homewood gives a very good performance. Um, what else? The music is very good. I gotta figure out who the music is by. It doesn't say, but of course this is based off the novel Dracula by Bram Stoker. We all know that. But the sets are also really good looking. They're very, very, very huge, lavish sets. Very huge designs. Very, very cool. Especially the inside of the castle is absolutely beautiful looking, which I believe they actually used the same set, the same inside set for Dracula Prince of Darkness, because it looks almost the exact same. Like, it's really scary. It's like, they probably recycled the set. But the sets look great. Overall, I highly, highly recommend you check out Horror Dracula. It's a favorite of mine. One of the best horror movie of the 1950s, in my opinion. Just an excellent, excellent film that I watch every year, and I highly recommend you give this film a look. I'll see you guys later. Please check out this movie. It's really, really good. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Hit the like button, comment. Let me know what your thoughts are on the film if you have seen it. Excellent, excellent movie. I can't recommend it enough. It's a favorite of mine. See you guys later.